Oh, thank you, Victor. And we're going to share a bit about our organization.
Yeah, and this meeting is being recorded, so if for whatever reason you don't want your face or voice on camera, feel free to have that off. And thanks all for coming. Okay, let's start with some introductions of the SHAC board of 2022 to 2023. I'm Victor. I am the president of SHAC, also the director of our consulting project, as well as one of the decal facilitators. I'm a fourth-year architecture major, and I'm also minoring in sustainable design, urbanism in developed countries, and food systems.
I'll go next. I'm Brian. I'm one of the co-presidents of the club. I also work on Solar Decathlon. I'm a third-year sustainable environmental design major with a minor in GIS and city planning.
Hello, everyone. I'm Robin. I'm the vice president, and I'm also the decal facilitator along with Victor. I'm a second-year architecture major, hopefully minoring in GIS and city planning, and I'll be managing the committees this year.
Aranshima cannot make it today, I believe, but she is co-vice president and Thimby co-project manager.
Beck, are you here? Am I getting a video feed from? He's MIA. Jade cannot make it here, but she is currently our outreach director, but we will be looking for someone to fill that spot this coming semester.
Yeah. Oh, Beck, you can go.
Sorry, my computer froze for a second, but I'm back now. I'm Beck Boyer. I'm the internal director and treasurer. I'm an architecture major in a third year and landscape architecture minor.
Hey everyone, I'm Hogan. I'm the media director. I'm a third year business major and a data science minor.
Okay, so now we'll get into the meat of it. Who are we? Just reading off the slide. We are an interdisciplinary group of undergraduate and graduate students at UC Berkeley with a shared passion for sustainability in the built environment. We aim to promote interdisciplinary collaboration, behavioral change, hands-on education, innovation, energy self-sufficiency, accessible, affordable housing, and scalability of projects. So kind of put long short, we're a project-based club who kind of aims to tackle affordable housing, not only in sustainable construction, but in housing policy as well. We kind of fund our projects mainly with partnerships with industry professionals, as well as grants from the university and city. We are structured with 3 projects and internal committees. Our Solar Decathlon, we'll hear from Alec and Mia. That is our national competition with the Department of Energy. It's a construction and design competition. You'll hear a little more. Thimby, we'll hear from Garrett. It's our tiny house project. We are in the construction phase. And consulting, we'll hear from Victor. It's our newest project, and from what I hear, it's a lot of fun research. We have our internal committees. We'll hear from other parts of our board that will help function and expand our club. We'll get started.
Hi everyone, I'm Alec. I got my master's this past spring in EECS, but I'm still very much involved in our project. Mia, go ahead.
Hi everyone, I'm Nia. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm project manager of the Solar Decathlon project. I received my BA in architecture. I graduated this past spring as well, and now I'm working as an architectural designer in Oakland. So yeah, next slide. I'll talk a little bit about Solar Decathlon, what it is, and then go into what our project is all about.
Cool. Did you just freeze for anyone else?
Yeah.
Okay.
I can do it. I'll take it.
Okay. Thank you.
So Solar Decathlon is an international competition hosted by the Department of Energy. We're doing the Build Challenge, which lasts 2 years. We started last fall, and we are about to begin construction. So even though most of the design work is done, there's still design changes to be made, and it's structured as 10 different contests, hence the decathlon aspect of it. I think there's around 20 other collegiate teams competing, and next slide. Yeah, so you can see here, we've had 1 or 2 past entries. First one was from 2015 to 2017. Berkeley got 3rd place. I think there's a picture in just a little bit. And then in 2021, we entered into the design challenge, which is only design and no build. That was a lot of fun and good learning experience. So some of us on the team here actually was part of that team, including me and Mia. Next slide.
Alex, sorry, lost connection there for a second. But you can keep going and then I'll do the next slide. Or wait, sorry, this is Robin's. Go ahead, Robin.
Okay, so again, our first installment was entitled RICE. This stands for Residential Inviting Stackable Efficient Home. It was a joint effort between UC Berkeley and University of Denver students. This structure blended together intense practicality, future-proof design elements, and sustainable technologies. To give you a little bit more specificities, it featured a movable wall system and also solar power, as well as modular stackable rooms. And as Alec mentioned, it won 3rd place at the SC 2017 competition. Next, we have HEARTH. This stands for Hybrid, Equitable, and Residential Transitional Home. And this was a hypothetical project to be located in Santa Rosa, California. It was a recovery effort that combats climate change and houselessness, drawing from 2 main issues faced in the Bay Area, specifically wildfires and homelessness. It blended fireproof design elements with supportive housing systems and social support systems as well.
All right, I can talk a little bit about our current project. So our team is participating in the 2023 US Solar Decathlon competition. And as we mentioned earlier, it's hosted by the Department of Energy. So we started on this project last fall, and we're also working with the University of San Francisco on this project and sort of as part of a larger scope, which we can mention in a second. So essentially, we're working with a local nonprofit called Youth Spirit Artworks, and we're constructing a community center for an existing tiny house village in Oakland. Next slide. So a little bit of background. As I said, we started working with Youth Spirit Artworks last fall, and we've been working with them over the past while to develop a program for our project. So a lot of the projects in Solar Decathlon are homes, but ours is a little bit unique because of who we're working with. So we've been working with staff and youth at YSA, and the youth that YSA serves are formerly homeless, and YSA provides jobs and arts training to them and now provides housing. So where we are coming in is we are creating a community and makerspace that will support this type of programming. So it will be built right adjacent to the existing tiny house village, and the youth that live there, as well as other YSA youth, can use it for any sort of jobs, arts, sort of making that they're interested in doing. And there's also a residential aspect of the house or of this community center that will be able to host visiting artists who will then interact with the youth. Alec can talk a little bit about where we are now and our recruitment process.
Yeah, so you see some of the roles listed on the slide. There's actually a little bit more, and you can go on our website to check those out. They have like very comprehensive like list of stuff you would be working with, and if you're interested in developing those skills, there's like a qualification section, but that's more just like what kind of skills you will be developing. We're more just looking for like passion for the subject, and there's so many different areas that pretty much anyone can apply and like find a they're interested in. So there's stuff like working on the mechanical, electrical, and plumbing system. There's also construction management because we're going into our construction phase pretty soon. And then there's also software if you're interested in that. Next slide.
Okay, so I'll be introducing the tiny house in my backyard, or what we call THIMBY project. My name is Garrett, and I'm the THIMBY co-project manager. I've been working on the project for almost 2.5 years now, and I graduated this past spring with a chemical engineering BS, and I'm still in the area, actually working up at the national lab, so right up the hill, as an R&D engineer for a local startup. So Arancha Meg is my co-project manager this semester, this year, and you'll get to meet her at some point if you join the team. But yeah, next slide, thanks. So just an overview of THIMBY. There have been 3 THIMBY projects thus far, and all of them aim to design and construct a cost-effective and scalable model for full amenities tiny homes to provide extremely affordable and permanent housing. All the projects, are as is in our name, are sustainable. So we try to incorporate sustainability while also like keeping costs low. So using reclaimed materials where possible, making the homes like off-grid capable. The past 2 have been off-grid. Efficient appliances, water reuse, simple design to cut down on material usage, and air quality is important as well. So, and then 2 sort of new thrusts of the projects are incorporating workforce development and wealth building, and this is kind of touching on that scalability that's mentioned there. So we want to incorporate the training, curriculum development, on-the-job training, and interface those with existing local programs that are already training people in like the construction space, and just providing them sort of unique opportunity to experience like a full build out of a home from start to finish in the hours that are required to like place them into unionized jobs essentially. So, and then we're also working on wealth building through various like loan models and stuff that we're trying to like achieve with banks partners so that we can scale this model, but that's more often in the future. So we're just getting started on that. Next slide, please. So just a brief overview of the past projects. The first one started back in 2014 and lasted till about 2017. And then there's a new team that took on THIMBY 2.0. And now we're on THIMBY 3.0, which started back in 2020. And I'll touch more on each of those now. Yeah, so THIMBY 1.0, also known as the Tiny Living Lab, was a graduate student-led project in the Energy and Resources group, which you may be familiar with. They competed in the first ever like California Tiny House student competition, and it was like an off-grid home that won second place in competition. It was essentially like a living lab, so there was lots of like data collection systems so that they were tracking their energy usage, water usage over a period of several years while it was occupied. And yeah, so we're taking a lot of like design inspiration from this because it was in a very similar form factor to what we're building now. And then the second project, which happened thereafter, was a retrofit of actually an old Greyhound bus that a family that was currently in a homeless shelter called the Greater Richmond Interfaith Program, GRIP. They were living there and owned this vehicle and wanted to turn it into a living space. So THIMBY took that project on and turned it into a full-size tiny house, and installed solar panels and battery systems so that it could run off the grid. And this wonderful family, Constance, and their 2 children still live in this tiny house. So yeah, and we built relationships during this project in Richmond that are continuing with this project. So next slide, please. So yeah, our current project, here's like 6 goals for the project. Basically, we want to pilot the City of Richmond's Tiny House on Wheels ordinance with a 240 square foot home on a trailer. It's an ordinance that the city has temporarily for three years that allows these homes to be built to decide whether or not they want to allow tiny homes on wheels to continue to serve as affordable housing in the backyard of single family residencies. So that's our goal, to provide affordable and permanent housing through this low cost tiny house on wheels model. Of course, maximize land usage because ADUs are infill housing, minimize energy and water usage, develop a training program surrounding the home's construction. So we're starting on this right now, and we have funds to actually train 3 people full-time on the next build out, whenever that is, hopefully soon. And also we're partnering with like private and public institutions to finance future construction. So yeah, slide please. So where we are now, we spent a couple years raising money. So we raised over $80,000 from various funding sources. We received the trailer, took a long time to get it, back in early June of this year. And we got started on construction over the semester, over the summer, building out the trailer deck. But most of the major construction is still underway and is scheduled for the rest of this semester, and the construction will be done by December. So we are recruiting for a good number of positions. These are all the roles on the team, so not every single one of them is available, but feel free to put them down if you're interested in them. We're a bit flexible in how many people for each role. But we have a construction team with construction managers, someone in charge of design and planning, mechanical, electrical, and plumbing systems. You can read the rest. And then we have a leadership and management team, which is also focused on more the bigger goals and policy. We are hoping that people joining this area are really, really passionate about these specific topics and maybe have a little bit of experience. But if you don't and you're really excited about it, you can still feel free to apply. And then the community engagement team, which is sort of our outreach team / media team. So yeah, you can view the descriptions on the website. And I think that's it for Simbi. Here's some photos of our current build out, the work that we did over summer, and some architectural drawings. Yeah.
Great, and I'll be talking about Shac Consulting, which is a new project under Shac. I will be the director of the consulting project, joined by the support of Garrett, Alec, and Mia. So next slide. The goal of Shac Consulting is to provide internal, environmental, and social consulting services for the successful design and construction of sustainable and equitable affordable housing. Our objectives are to develop a Shac playbook that would allow for future project replicability and development within the organization. So really combining all the lessons learned and experiences that we've had with Solar Decathlon and THIMBY, and kind of using them to inform the future of our organization. And then eventually we would develop a Shac handbook for external teams to use for guidance and inspiration for their own projects. And throughout this process, we would be developing frameworks for assessing and improving sustainability and social justice measures in projects. So Shac Consulting's role within Shac is to synthesize the work done to date by Solar Decathlon and THIMBY, and will be serving as the glue that kind of unites the two teams. We'll be documenting, scaling, and publicizing Shac's past efforts, advancing Shac's values of energy, accessibility, scalability, and education, and giving our future club members and other people and organizations access to a robust compilation of research, hands-on experience, and guidance surrounding the most effective strategies for designing and constructing sustainable and just homes. This is a preliminary timeline of what we'll be up to this year. We'll start off with some preliminary brainstorming of what we would want our deliverables to look like, as well as kind of our research process. At the same time, we'll be doing construction documentation of both SD and BIMBY. And then we would start beginning our shac playbook, a lot of researching and writing. And then hopefully eventually we would begin our shac handbook and even potentially work on some curriculum development. So why join shac consulting? Really, since this project is so new, you'll be able to contribute a lot of your ideas and experiences to really help co-create this new project. You'll get to learn and research about very sustainable and equitable design and construction strategies, like building certification programs, sustainability, social justice frameworks, building science and technology, MEP systems, social justice, building zoning codes, and even diving into concepts like health and wellness in the built environment. Also, you'll be able to gain valuable hard and soft job skills that are relevant to the sustainability consulting industry. We're recruiting lead consultants and consultants, and so please join.
Next, I'll be talking about the shac committees. Once again, they're led by me, currently Jade and Hogan. Next slide, please. So the three shac committees kind of develop administrative and organization goals for the club. We're kind of like the behind the scenes admin work. We also do collaborations between like the different members and sub teams, and we organize like interactions between other clubs in CED and COE, and then our sponsors and other professionals in the Bay Area. Next, please. So the first one that we'll be talking about is internal affairs, which I run again. In internal affairs, we handle recruitment. We also put on a series of workshops and knowledge sharing meetings over the course of the semester. So in the past, we've done softwares, which include Rhino, Adobe, and AutoCAD. We also have guest speakers doing like seminars, and hopefully we'll have a few of those over the course of the year. And then everyone loves socials, so we put on our own shac socials, but then we also collaborate with other clubs to host socials. There's also internal alumni and sponsor networking. We're currently putting together a resume book to help with recruiting, and organizing finances is the last thing that we do. So if you're interested in working with finances or SU finance or anything like that, internal affairs might be a good option for you. Next, please.
Since Jade isn't here, I'll take this one. So the main function of outreach is currently fundraising, which means like writing grant applications and also dealing with our fundraising campaign, which is about to start for the Solar Decathlon. All the committees work pretty closely together on several things. Like, of course, if you're doing crowdfunding campaign, you need to in the past, I mean, we've been very successful with our outreach committee, particularly for Solar Decathlon. There's been a big win in getting the largest grant from the Green Initiative Fund, or TGIF. And this makes sense because our projects are pretty unprecedented in Berkeley. And we also just won the Oakland City Challenge, which they are helping us with our crowdfunding efforts and other outreach work. So yeah, and also DIMB is fully funded pretty much through grants. So join outreach. Next slide.
So I'll be leading the media committee for the upcoming semester. So basically the role of the media committee is to market the club, both to like Cal students and then also, you know, organizations and just the general community in Berkeley. So this mainly entails running the social media accounts like Instagram and Facebook and kind of updating those with both like project updates as well as recruitment. Like you can see these recruitment flyers on the screen. And then also in terms of communicating with our sponsors, we are in charge of creating a monthly newsletter, basically kind of updating our sponsors with our progress in both projects. Another aspect of media is creating club content. In particular, currently we're creating a documentary for the Solar Decathlon project, basically kind of documenting kind of the reasoning behind the project as well as the building of it. And yeah, and also another aspect of media is running the SHAC website. Currently, we're looking for a social media officer as well as a video specialist. And there are also other positions like graphic designer for THIMB, as well as media director for THIMB. So those kind of positions on both THIMB and Solar Decathlon will be working closely with media. Next slide.
And then finally, really briefly, we also host the Living Features Regenerative Environmental Design decal. Again, note, clarification, you don't need to be in the decal to be in the club. Applications for a decal have been are closed now. We just had our first class. And so feel free to audit the class. That means attend the class, but not take it for any units. But next slide, it's basically a class that talks about regenerative environmental design. This is going beyond sustainability. Sustainability talks about creating net zero impacts, whereas regenerative talks about creating net positive. That means doing more good as opposed to just less bad. Yeah, so feel free to check us out. And this decal hopefully will continue next semester. So keep an eye for that. And then finally, this is just the rough timeline / schedule for the week. Mandatory for all members would be the Wednesday general meetings. That's going to be 7 to 9 p.m. Whereas other things are optional. If you're part of a committee, we meet hopefully Monday. Again, this is a tentative time. We're still talking it out. Second, on Fridays, 3 to 5 p.m., we'll have a study shack session. Again, optional, but highly recommended. Hopefully this is the time that we'll have workshops, socials, and speaker events. And again, if you want to audit the class for our decal, it's every Thursday, 6:30 to 8 p.m.
All right, so here we just have a QR code for our Instagram. So if you guys could follow us, that'd be awesome. And then we have our website there. And if you have any questions, you can email us at that email. And then there's the application link. Just a reminder, applications are due this Sunday by 11:59.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna put this list up here. You can screenshot or whatnot. These are the open positions that we are specifically looking for all of our projects. I would like to make it clear if you feel like you don't fit specifically in any of these roles, or you feel like you're not experienced enough, I'd like to reiterate we are looking. If you're just passionate, we'll be happy to take you on. Please just apply anyways, and we'd love to have you. For people who have, and now we will be taking questions. So if you have any questions, I assume in the chat, or go ahead and just unmute and ask us. We'll be happy to answer. So from Mara, for people who have a late night lab on Wednesday nights, will you be able to join SHAC? Some of our project managers, do you want to answer this?
Yeah.
I think that it would be difficult to join a project, but definitely could still join like one of the committee specific roles. Yeah.
Some people have done in the past is if you have a lab that's going late like this semester, but you still want to get involved, you can join a committee that meets at another time, and then you could probably kind of like work your way onto a project, and that'll be an easier lead in because you'll already be familiar with the organization as a whole. But yeah, we've tried having folks in the past be part of the projects but not be part of the project meetings, and that's been really challenging just in terms of project management and coordination. So we try to avoid that if at all possible, but of course we want to accommodate you, so we would definitely encourage you to join a committee in that case.
Do you guys normally also do like spring recruiting?
Yes, we do.
Okay, cool.
I have a question.
Yeah, go for it.
Could we just join if we want to like help build?
Yes. Garrett can probably speak to that a little bit.
Because I'm just like interested in learning like construction, but I don't really want to do like the media or like know the specific engineering stuff.
Yeah, go ahead.
So there's like general volunteer roles available, and we'll be sending out like information as those days come up where we need more people on site. But as far as like the roles listed here, we'd like this semester we want everyone on the team to have a specific role that is attending project meetings. And so at least for Thimby, like if you're joining in like a general like construction volunteer role, won't coming to like weekly project meetings unless there's one that's like necessary for prep for like the upcoming build. So I don't.
So when we thank you.
Yeah.
When I apply, then should I apply or should I just come if there's like building opportunities?
I mean, so if you want to be involved in like the week-to-week process, then definitely apply. If not, then if you're on our email list, you will be like contacted about just like general volunteer opportunities.
Garrett, I have a question for you. Are we working with Habitat to do this?
No,
Did we?
I wasn't planning on it. That would open up. Let's talk about this later, because that would open up to like a lot.
So that might happen.
So
Yeah.
I would say though that like definitely read over the role descriptions, because there are some that are like not super like time intensive.
I would. Florida Decathlon are entering the construction phases, so there will definitely be opportunities for that. But we are prioritizing people who are part of the week-to-week teams in terms of going out to the site. So having folks who are kind of on a general volunteer list, it's just kind of a week-to-week thing, whereas like, okay, or we'll like look at who of our team is able to go out, and if we do have gaps there, then we'll fill those with folks that are not like fully on the team. But yeah, as Garrett just said, there are definitely roles that are lower time commitment during the week and that still would allow you to do construction. And there are roles that are specifically oriented towards construction. So you don't necessarily have to be doing design or engineering. There are construction management type roles, or like construction support for construction management, such as like materials procurement, for instance, where it's like, okay, in preparation for the build day and like figuring out all the things that need to happen on site, you're making sure that everything is kind of coordinated for that. So if you're interested in that part of it at all, in addition to just like getting your hands dirty, then we would definitely encourage you to participate in that way. But yeah, just, does that answer your question?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also wanted to add that within the application form, there is a general member like option. So you can like select that and then explain that you want to become a construction volunteer.
Thank you.
Ria or Ria is asking, how conducive is the project team environment to learning? I'm hoping to learn more about CAT.
Yeah, that's a great question. Victor partially, or yeah, most of us are learning as we go. And yeah, as he said, we've done tutorials in the past. And if folks are interested in doing that, then we will definitely figure out a way to cook some sort of like evening during the week and teach people what we know. Yeah, it's definitely a learning process. A lot of folks have come into the project with little or no experience with doing drawings, whether that be in Revit or CAD or Rhino. So there's definitely opportunities to learn, at least on the solar decathlon side. We're still kind of finalizing drawings and we are doing so in CAD. So I think if you're interested in learning, of course we're trying to move things along quickly, but we also would definitely welcome some help on the drawings. So if you're interested in learning that and doing so quickly, then we'd love to have you be part of that effort. Garrett, do you have anything to add for Lindy? Yeah.
To answer the question about the recording, it's already posted. The Monday session is already posted on the Join Us tab on their website. And Robin did.
All right, next question. Is there a place with more description of roles? Yes. The website outlines it pretty clearly. So if you go down to if you go to the Join Us tab, and then you select a project, all of the, Victor just linked it there. All of the roles will have a handful of bullet points that just outline what we'd like for you to do as part of the project, and then time commitment. And then it does have a few asks. It's nothing, as we said before, is required. We don't necessarily need experience. We really care more about having folks that are passionate and are willing to put in the time for the projects. But a little bit of experience in terms of like maybe you've taken a class in something that's related to what we're working on, like that's helpful. But it's definitely not required. So yeah, you can go to the recruitment tab that Victor just sent. Any other questions?
Like just talk to someone individually. You can like stick around at the end, like without officially, or you can also email us at info@shac.berkeley.edu. Oh, or recruitment. It goes to the same inbox, but yeah, recruitment@shac.berkeley.edu.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll wrap up the general info session now, then a little 10 minutes earlier. I'd like to thank everybody for coming. Just a reminder, the application is due this Sunday at midnight. So we'll hope to see you, and you'll hear from us. Thank you.
Like you don't have experience, still go for it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. And
That's everyone. Oh, yeah. Good job, everybody.
Johannes, what's up? Hang out.